The man had been fishing on a deserted island for 3 months, but what he was catching wasn't fish. They were stones shaped like creepy human dolls, each weighing 30 to 40 kilograms. That day, the man sat in a daze when suddenly his fishing rod bent sharply. The little bird perched on it, let out a sharp chirp, and the man snapped out of his trance. He pulled the rod with all his strength, and with difficulty grabbed the fishing line that cut through the sea like a wire. But once again, what came up was just another stone. He sighed and shook his head. Strange things like this had become routine for him. Then he struggled to carry the stone up the ladder and tossed it into a huge sack. The sack, hanging by a rope, visibly sagged under the weight. After all that, he picked up his fishing rod and resumed his dull fishing. From a distance, he looked like the only soul on the small island, surrounded by a sea of eternal silence and forgetfulness. Then suddenly the rod bent again. This time, he had actually caught a live fish. But he didn't seem too happy about it. He turned and saw another half-cooked fish. After a moment of thought, he decided to release the live one back into the sea. That night, he sat inside his simple tent, eating the fish he caught during the day, studying a blueprint in his hand with full concentration. With the soft sea breeze around him, he lay down to sleep. As he turned over, he saw an old photograph. His eyes filled with anger and regret. He angrily slammed the photo down. The next day, he repeated his usual fishing routine, but this time something was different. He saw something unusual floating in the water, quickly stood up, and pulled out the blueprint from behind him. He needed a specific gear part, and the thing floating on the water looked just like it. He woke the little bird beside him. The bird understood immediately and flew down, hooked the object onto the fishing line. He pulled it up and removed its handle, then lifted the white cloth behind him. Beneath it was a wooden spaceship he had been building. He attached the final gear piece, stood back with hands on his waist, and looked proudly at his work. Early the next morning, he rolled the spaceship onto a seesaw-like platform. Once everything was ready, the bird flew up to the coconut tree and used its beak to cut the rope. A heavy package dropped on the platform, and the man was launched into the air. As he flew, he unfolded the spaceship's wings and began soaring steadily towards the south. At first, everything was going according to plan, but then an accident happened. One of the wings began to loosen. He quickly grabbed a hammer and fixed it. Worried it might come loose again, he kept a close watch on it. Eventually, he took off his belt and tied the wing tightly for extra security. But just then, the other wing suddenly broke off. He lost balance and started falling rapidly. Fortunately, he had a backup plan. He pedaled hard and the spaceship began hovering like a helicopter. The bird finally caught up behind him, but the spaceship parts started falling apart again. In the end, even the propeller broke off. Luckily, he landed on another deserted island. Just as the ship was about to crash, he leapt out and landed safely on the shore. Panting heavily, he lay flat on the ground. The coconut tree in front of him looked strangely familiar. He slowly sat up and heard a voice calling out from a distance. A man was calmly walking on a bridge toward him, but instead of relief, he looked disappointed. He walked to the edge of the island and started fishing again, his eyes gazing toward the far-off horizon.